faithful friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today I am making bread and I'm so excited to just show you the process. This is something that I do once every other week. I like to make my own homemade bread from scratch. Right now I am using a melting tallow. So I make my own tallow and it is wonderful. Hi hubby, how are you today? But I love to use the tallow when I'm baking, but in order to put it into the bread, into the bread mix, I need to have it liquefied. So what I do is I microwaved it just for a few seconds to melt it. And now I add some honey, some raw honey to that melted tallow. Yum, fresh honey is so delicious. It is actually a local honey that I had gotten from a friend of ours who is a beekeeper. It is the best and it's full of healthy, nutritious nutrients. So I like to mix that together with the tallow and then pour it in together. And it just makes it a little easier for me to measure out that way. And the oil, the lard, the tallow keeps the honey from sticking to the container. Now for the fresh dough. This is the bucket that holds my freshly ground flour. So I buy wheat berries in bulk from a local store here near my home. And I use an electric mill to grind the berries. And I gotta tell you, if you've never eaten fresh ground floured whole wheat bread, you are missing out. It is nothing. I mean zero zip, nothing like what you buy for store purchased bread. It is so much better and it is so healthy. So I know how many berries. I just measure out what I need and I grind it up, and then you can see here I am using a clean, it's just for flour only, but a little like a pastry brush, and I like to just kind of sweep it out with that and add it to my bread machine container. And it's easy peasy, really. Once you know the measurements, it's easy to just measure it out. I use the same exact bread recipe every single time. Here we are all loaded up, and let's get this on. So I don't actually bake my bread in this machine. I actually sit it on the dough setting. I put the bread machine on the dough setting and then I take it out for its final rise and I bake it in the oven. This bread machine container is so huge, it makes these overly large loaves. So I prefer to use my smaller bread pan and do it in the oven. Oh, and this is Darla and Kelly, two of my fur babies. Aren't they so cute? And this is one of the wooden faux ironstone marmalade jars that I made in last week's video. You have to check that out. And now the bread is done rising for its first rise. So what I'm going to do is take it out of the pan and I need to shape it. Oh, look how lovely that looks. Isn't it amazing? So I just am going to just reshape it and then get it ready to put into my pan that I'm going to give it a second rise and then bake it. I just want to say that I am by no means a professional. I don't claim to be one. I don't even pretend to be one on TV. This is just how I shape the bread. I just flatten out the air pockets that might be in it, and then I just kind of stretch it and make it kind of as pretty as I can on top. And, just make sure that it's, knit together, that it doesn't fall apart. And this is how I do it. I like to cover the bread while it's doing its second and final rise. I just cover it with a tea towel that I have, a clean lint-free tea towel. And my oven is cold. What I do is I just warm it in the oven. I like to keep it in there for the second rise because the oven kind of holds the heat. My house tends to be a little cooler. So while my bread is rising in the bread machine, I need to refill my tallow lotion. So I have this jar with a wooden lid that I bought, and I keep in this my whipped tallow. So my husband and I, we buy beef, from a friend of his, local, that raises them every year. We get some, and most people don't want the fat, so to make tallow. Well, we do. And after I've been using this tallow for a few months, I can tell a difference in my skin. So what we did is we rendered it down. Some of it we eat, and some, I've made this lotion out of. But you let it, again, we render it down and then let it kind of start to solidify. And just before it completely solidifies, I used my hand mixer and whipped it. And so you can see it has this nice, this is in the fridge, but as it sits out, then it gets this nice whipped texture. So I had this one in the fridge. I need to let it soften a little bit. I'm gonna put it in here in this jar, and then I keep this jar on in my bathroom, so when I'm done in the shower, I use this lotion, and I've been using it again for a couple of months, and I really like the way my skin feels with it. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I enjoy sharing, little bits about my life, even though it's quirky and definitely not perfect. But let me know, do you make your own bread, and do you use tallow lotion? Have you tried to make your own? Let me know in the comments what you think. And stay tuned, my bread is coming up next, the finished loaf. What do you think?